Crazy Raccoon, obviously. EWC 2024 champs.
Favorite team?
Super team. Gushui, Leave, Shy. Surely they get their revenge, surely.
OWCS APAC champions, Color Hex, Punk, Rack Attack. Legends of the game.
Oh, but you have to consider the Diva Symmetra style of Alcatzia. No one can beat that.
Guapos. Come on.
Wrong animal.
Variety is a spice of life, Jen. The OWCS Mid-Season Championship starts now.
Overwatch 2. After a long stage 2 and many qualifiers, we have brought together the top 16 teams from across the world, including regional champions Crazy Raccoon, GK Esports, OWCS, and Weibo Game, to see who will be the best at Overwatch 2 and who at the end of the Esports World Cup will be the club champion.
$20 in the club championship. Now, Team Vitality, they're doing great so far. They're number 1. But tied for 3rd is Team Falcons. Crucially, though, Team Falcons, they haven't won an esport yet.
weeks last year. It was a fantastic time, and I got to watch. You started off with a tournament win week 1 in Warzone, and that kind of relieved the pressure. You guys went on to top the leaderboard, take home the lion's share of that prize pool. But this year, that's not the case. We're going into week 4 without a trophy yet. Are you guys starting to get nervous?
Yeah, I mean, there was no stress last year in the sense as we got that result straight away. I think these Falcons, but yeah. If you ask me that question week by week, it's going to be more and more stress each time.
As we take a look here at the numbers, Jake, Falcons currently in 3rd with Vitality and Gen G right above them.
So, you know, the Overwatch Team Falcon squad, they may have come from the last chance qualifier to get bringing those teams together. So, tell me a little bit about this team, your experience with them as players and as
in the championship. And it's been a bit of a weird split. We know that, like 9K coming into head coach. We brought in Merritt, we brought in someone. And yeah, fair to say that the split itself wasn't the best, and we had to fight through last chance qualifier. But we were trying to figure out both our best roster and how we want to play the game. And it just took a bit longer than expected. And also someone coming from sort of the NA side. So it's just taking a bit longer than we thought. But now I feel like we're completely ready for it.
Game on.
There's also, you must feel a decent amount of pressure coming to this year to defend that title. It's your 2nd year at the Esports World Cup now. What kind of lessons have you guys learned as an organization since last year coming to this one?
One thing I think we didn't expect was we had the pressure as the management, right, in our own game. And actually we realized like quite heavily it did. And so that you've got sort of the double pressure of Falcons wanting to win championship and obviously winning your game. So it's been a lot of work about our relationship with the players and the environments create around them to ensure that they're just focused. There's no feeling of pressure on them and they're just playing to the best of their ability.
Grant, whether it's chess, EA Football Club, Call of Duty, Overwatch, we know the Falcons fans run deep, and they are all over Riyadh. What is it like playing with the Riyadh buff?
It's a huge buff. Sometimes players, it's like it can be a lot, but seeing the fans out there this time, this year they've got drums, they've got flags, like it's on another level this year. So it feels amazing going.
So talk to me a little bit, Grant, about this event in particular, right? Not just being in Riyadh here in front of the fans, but here at the Esports World Cup, we have bigger stadiums this year. You know, it looks like there's even more pressure in terms of that fan element with how many people have come out to support. What do you see as far as this event? Is it unique for you guys, you know, as far as bringing all these different teams from different games together in one place?
Yeah, I mean, operationally, it's ridiculous, right?
Sure.
Trying to make sure everything, but it was a little bit easier this year in the sense that we had built the teams last year, right? It was such an arms race last year to now it's much more about just improving and extrapolating what we have. But at the same time, it's a very different feeling between trying to win the crown and trying to defend the crown. And that's a different kind of stress and pressure on the players, from us, from the fans, from everyone. So yeah, managing that together with all the games over all the weeks is the biggest challenge.
Grant, final question before we let you go rejoin your team, because we know they're about to take the stage in just a little bit. What are your expectations for the Overwatch team? How many points do you need from them?
I don't want to put the pressure on them, but look, I think we'd be very happy to talk to you. I think realistically, it's the same as all of last season. It's us and it's Crazy Raccoon. And let's see if this is the time we can take them down.
I love
And making it to the mid-season championship. Among them stood Team Falcons, a team with a legacy to protect. Despite the pressure, Falcons made a bold move, bringing in Proper to replace Stalker, a high-risk, high-reward swap, which quickly paid off. From the first match to the final round, Proper's mechanics and synergy with Sparkle turned the tide. Team Falcons surged through the bracket, and when they met Zeta Division in the grand final, they didn't just win, they dominated with a clean 3-0 sweep. With a revamped roster and a read on the current meta, Team Falcons are looking stronger than ever, and they're headed into the midseason championship with momentum on their side.
Falcons bringing in some big hitters this year, and so are we on the studio desk. We've got Avril, Jake, so Avril, walk me through this competition. How is the tournament format going to work here?
Yeah, so we've got 4 groups of 4 teams. The top 2 make it through into the playoffs. It's GSL style groups, so you got to basically play through mini double elimination brackets in each of our groups. It's going to be first to 2 for our opening matches. Then we're going to go into first to 3s, and then eventually in the grand finals, it's going to be first to 4.
Love that call out. So win 2 in the groups, you're through. Lose 2, and you're walking away with just the prize money you made it for coming here, Johnny.
Absolutely. You lose twice in the group and you're out, but also it's a single elimination bracket. We don't really do single elimination brackets in Overwatch at all. It's always double elimination, which gives you that extra life. But here at EWC, in the playoffs, it's single elimination, 1 loss, you're out. So that's going to be no room for errors.
And the bans are going to have a huge impact on the metas that we see in game. Jake, if you're looking to do some bans, what do you think is the key role to shut down?
You know, we might see a little bit of system through the East this whole year. There's going to be no surprises. The same ban system we've been working with. For newcomers, all you can see is you're going to have a ban each map, 1 per team. Can't ban 2 of the same role, and you can't ban the same hero more than once in a series. And so basically, there's a couple restrictions on the bans, but you're going to be able to attack just a little bit your opponent's preferred strategies and maybe mitigate some of their strongest suits coming into the competition.
And knowing that these opening rounds are the first to 2 wins, get those crucial bans in early. Let's take a look at our groups, because be in Group A, Avril. Walk me through what we're seeing here.
It's all Falcons. The fact that they came through LCQ means that we ended up with 2 Korean teams in Group A. It's the only group that has 2 Korean teams in them. We also have Weibo Gaming, first seed from China, VP, Virtus Pro, who've played really well at EMEA, particularly at last EWC in Stage 1 as well. So 4 really strong teams in Group A. I mean, this is by far, in my opinion, the group of death.
And Jake, which is the easiest group out of those?
Oh man, I don't know if any group is
the rest of them. All the rest of them.
It's a brutal question, I know.
I guess I'd say maybe it's Group C, because outside of Katsuya and GK, I think CC and Zocorp up teams being upset.
Johnny, for you and I, though, we're cheering on Weibo Gaming. They went down as LGDOA last year, and they were in a 3-way tie with teams like the Falcons. Unfortunately, they did not make it to the playoff bracket. If they could finish in the top 8, this would be huge for China.
Yeah, I mean, they are a Chinese super team. They're a force you always have to reckon with. And Champions Clash, which took place in May, I mean, we saw the full force of that. Like, they're a team that can take down some of the best Korean teams, especially if the Korean teams play into their dive matchups, right? So we got to be ready to see what they have to bring this tournament.
Over in Group B, though, we have the returning champions from EWC 2024. The Crazy Raccoons were flawless in the grand finals. Thoughts about our top dogs coming into Group B?
Crazy Raccoons, as good as ever. You can just never count this team out. They know how to lift a trophy. They know how to get to that position and put themselves in winning form. They also know how to adapt. They've been maybe the most successful team globally in the world of the ban system, because this is a team that is just amorphous. You can't pin them down. You can't predict what they're going to play. They can throw absolutely anything at you. They will take your strongest strategy and turn it right around in your face.
Looking at this group as well, Team Liquid has to be the other team to look out for. I think they have the strongest chance after Crazy Raccoon to make it out. Obviously, top 2 go through. So Farrell and Rock, it's going to be tough for them. Liquid at this stage, second in NA. They've got a really flexible roster. Infected, I think, one of the most flexible tanks in North America as well. I'm looking forward to TL.
Over Group C, we take a look at OWCS as one of the top opponents here. And Johnny, what I love here is just how good the Saudi Arabian players are becoming. We saw Surmajed was part of the lineup last year for the Falcons. Now we have 3 teams with some stars. Talk to me about this top dog.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to mention Sia, which is a future superstar in the Overwatch scene. 17 years of impact on the Brawl heroes, but also being able to play the Diva at a really high level. And this entire squad has just rallied behind their tank player. Checkmate can play as Symmetra at a really high level, which seems to be the meta right now. And then you also have Landon, which kind of like steers the ship from the backline. So Alcazia, if you go by the Scrimbox pocket, they are one of the best teams at the tournament.
Alcazia favorite. If you listen to our pros on site against CC in the opening round, but talk to me about GK.
GK are maybe the number 1 seed from NA, but they are a very hard team to predict. They've innovated, played a lot of really wild strategy. Eventually, you go up against GK, some
kind of underdog that could go the distance here.
Might have to rename those for the Group T instead, because I'm looking at Twisted Minds and T1. It's all about the T teams. Sign Esports and, well, Gatos Guapos. They have a T at the start of the Gatos Guapos, I guess. Sign Esports, I think they got a decent dark horse run in this group, but really, we look at the current meta, the reasons why Alcazia are good, we look at Symbral, Twisted Minds, the same thing, and they look at T1. T1 are the team that, coming through from Korea, have just been so damn good.
And Johnny, you and I are cheering on this squad, though. It's not just for the colors of their jerseys. The name about Color Hex's team here.
I mean, I think they're a bit of a fan favorite going into this tournament because they have veteran players like Punk, for example, the tank player, Rack Attack, biggest streamers in the Overwatch space now. So Rack Attack didn't get picked up for stage 1, stage 2.
Yep.
we still hungry.
Still hungry. Level here in 2025. Now in our Jamil Motorsports, our rival Grand, we have AG coming into the stadium.
Yeah, led by Coach Dong Su at the front of the pack there going into the stage. And honestly, this team is full of players that if you haven't been looking at Korea recently, you're about to find out. They've taken essentially the third spot in Korea from Zeta Division, knocking them to LCQ, within Falcons knocked out of the LCQ. So Zeta's just not here. AG are the top 3 in Korea right now, which means a lot because if you can make top 3 in Korea, essentially in my mind, you're probably top 3 in the world. Sonjun and Aid, this DPS line, super deadly. Aid, extremely good hit scan.
Love that call out.
Yeah, and I think for this team as well, they might not be the favorites to win the tournament, but any points are good when it comes to the club championship here at the Esports World Cup. And AG, they're actually tied for 3rd right now with Team Falcons. And crucially, they've already won a tournament, so they are eligible to be. I think that would be a great achievement for this squad. They're coming in as underdogs. If you can get deep in the single elimination bracket, maybe top 4, that would be a great achievement for this team.
Let's take a look at their success so far on the season. We've had a few events. Jake, how have they played?
They've had a solid performance, like you were mentioning, right? Getting to top 3 in Korea is incredible. That's typically you going to be thinking about coming into this match 1.
For now, they're considered the favorites because the Falcons had to come through the LCQ, and they are ready to walk into the STC arena. Here's a look at our friends in our Jamil Motorsports arrival. Does that boost your confidence coming into a LAN?
Yeah, I think winning LCQ and demolishing Zeta 3-0 gives you a ton of confidence. And, you know, talking to Grant as well, it's about when the team is actually good. Okay, they struggled in stage 2. We know that. But now they're powering up. They're getting ready to just get into this heavy sim brawl meta that Falcons are so damn good at.
This is a team that, you know, pressure, it's just not a factor for these guys, right? I've coached Mare before. This guy is icy. In the most high pressure situations, he gives you nothing but no emotion, just pure performance. Is exactly what you want. Is absolutely on that level as well. These guys are all champion players. They've all had huge international performances, and this is just the beginning for them. I think they know that, yeah, they might have come from the LCQ, but this is a team with much higher expectations than almost any other last chance qualified team at the Esports World Cup.
They were runners-up at the Champions Clash, but you see that Asia Stage 1, they were already able to raise 1 trophy. Johnny, what's the likelihood the Falcons find that form again?
Well, I think it's quite likely because this is a team that is all about tournament play. Yes, they had a bit of a slip-up during the regular season, and it was honestly the first time that this team has really slipped up in like 18 months. Like they've been dominant for so long. And this was the first time where we look at Falcons and going into the LCQ, like Avril said, they look like they're on the same page again. And going into the Esports World Cup, you put them as contenders, I would say that they are a top 3 team going into the tournament until proven otherwise here.
Well, we know that Merit and someone were picked up by the squad between 2024 and 2025. They're hoping those two can be a huge impact. And we caught up with someone before the matchup.
What's up, everybody? Danny Lim here. The match is about to begin between Team Falcons versus AGAL, and I'm here with someone from Team Falcons to have a quick chat. Someone, please say hello.
Hello, I'm Team Falcon for Tang, and my name is Summer. Nice to meet you.
Let's go. All right. This is gonna be really quick. Pre-match interview.
Yeah.
Someone, it's been a while since you've been in an international offline event. So how does that make you feel? 자, 되게 오랜만에 이렇게 국제적 오프라인 어떻게 보면 경기장에 오랜만에 오시게 되는데 소감 말씀 부탁드릴게요.
저가 국제전을 못 올 거라고 생각 못 했는데, 그러니까 LCQ까지는 좀 더 불안했거든요. 근데 이제 LCQ 오고 나서부터는 많이 이제 자신감 붙었고 성적을 낼 것 같습니다.
Yeah. To be honest, I didn't think we were gonna make it. I mean, I did think that after going through LCQ, I gained a lot more confidence. But before that, I didn't really think that we were gonna make it this far. But now that after LCQ, I've gained a lot of confidence, and I feel like we could give out a really good performance. All right, talking about your first match against AGAL, how do you think it's gonna play out? 자, 첫 번째 경기입니다. AGAL과 올게이머스와 경기가 있는데 어떻게 경기가 흘러가실 것 같으신가요?
그 AJ는 솔직히 말해서 그렇게 어려운 팀은 아니라고 생각하고, 근데 이게 3판 2선이다 보니까 방심만 안 하면 진짜 쉽게 이길 것 같습니다.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't think it's going to be a very close matchup. If we just don't make a lot of mistakes, I feel like it's going to be an easy win for the Team Falcons. All right, Soma, thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Let's go.
Chat, which one looks better in blonde? Let us know between someone and Danny Lim. Love having both ready. And we have a new one since season 17, I should say. Atlas is in the competition. But we also have some old school maps like Lijiang Tower and Watchpoint Gibraltar. What do you want to see on day one, Avril?
I want to see a lot of Atlas. I want to see how teams are going to navigate our new Flashpoint map. We don't have Survasa here, which could hurt some teams. Speaking of maps that we don't have, no Ilios either. So those are two really strong ball maps, two really strong dive maps. Gibraltar is going to be that single dive map that's still in the pool. And because, well, so many ball teams like Crazy Raccoon are here, and AG is one of them, that could impact the results.
And Johnny, it's just like last year. We're always going to play control first, and then loser gets to pick the next game, right?
Absolutely. And of course, Ilios is missing for that first control map, which is the default pick for so many teams that love to play dive. Now you have to pivot. You have center, which is more brawl heavy. So it might change the tactics a little bit for some of these teams.
Okay, so Jay, players take the stage. AG taking on Falcons. Give me the expectations for both teams. Will we see a game 3?
Look, I honestly think this one's going to be really dominant for Falcons. They came in out of LCQ. They may technically be a lower seed, but just looking at their strength, I think we always knew that anything less than like a top 2 spot in Korea is an underperformance for Falcons. They've shown that, as Grant mentioned earlier, they can absolutely do better and deliver championship performances. And I think they're going to do that again here at the Esports World Cup. I got a ton of faith in Merit and someone.
Johnny, Falcons?
Yeah, I just got to be on board with Falcons because a lot of people going into this event, they've been kind of sleeping on them. Oh, they're coming from the LCQ. But I'm just like, these are pros. Like, these are some of the best. Just look at this roster. It's an amazing roster. Some of the most winningest player of all time. Gio and Fielder, of course. One of the best tank players in the world. Like I said before, Merit can just take over the game as the hit scan player. And Proper, I mean, Avril, you're all about Proper as well. This guy, when he's playing at his best.
I'm all about the whole team, really. But yeah, Proper as well. I'm going to go for Falcons as well here, Puckett, because I think it's about who is good right now in this current meta, and I think there's going to be 2 types of teams in this tournament: sim teams who are good at the brawl, and teams who can't play the Symmetra. And I think AG are going to be the type of team that can't really play that Symmetra as well. So Falcons should be a 2-0.
We're going to give our players about a 2-minute buffer here to take the stage. So we all said they are the higher other L tonight.
I'm going with Sonjin here. I think one of the key ways you can deal with a lot of the Symmetra play coming through is on your flex DPS. You need to be looking towards fire. You need to be looking towards Venture. Sonjin can play both, but particularly the Venture is a bit of a Korean special. They've been playing into the sim that we've seen even in the latest parts of stage 2. So for AG, that's going to have to be their strength. I'm looking at that guy.
I was quite surprised you didn't mention Ada, actually. Especially been seeing a new hit scan here as well, because we've been playing Sojourn for so long, right?
Yeah.
But now Freya's come into the mix in stage 2 and really changed up the game. A lot of these hit scan players now, they've struggled to pick up Freya because it features more projectile kind of arrows, right? And so it's not quite the same character. And so I think that is going to be another story to follow throughout this tournament. What hit scan players can really fire on all cylinders, and Aid will have to step up big for this team, I think.
Jake, we didn't see him in the starting roster card, but there is a pair of brothers on this squad, and this is something so unique in sports, and especially esports. Tell me a little bit about the history on AG. We have Aid and Milgaru, who could potentially be from the same family in the same lobby.
I mean, that would be pretty incredible. I can't recall where else we've seen that in esports. It's pretty awesome for them. Next up, right, in Korea, they're all very young players, all at the very early part of their career. Sonjun has shown really big performances on other squads as well. I think you're right to highlight him as a key factor for this team. But remember, that's also a lot of like rookie, early in their career energy. I'm kind of interested to see how do they perform at the Esports World Cup. This is the biggest esports event of the year. If pressure is ever going to be an issue for you, this is the time it's going to rear its ugly head. And against a squad like the Falcons, they're going to put every bit of pressure on you from minute one, from the first second of this competition.
I also think, to speak highly of AG, that when you look at their stage 2 results, they did actually beat Crazy Raccoon even the seeding decided matches in Korea. They also beat Falcons as well in the regular season. So talking about a team that on stages, you want to play on stage, you want to play on a LAN environment. Korea is played entirely on LAN. They have all this LAN experience now. They have 3 former Overwatch League players, including Marco, who was on the bench for Mayhem when they won the Overwatch League in 2023. So yeah, they have the experience of actually beating the top teams. A
little bit later on our Alpha stream, you have AG versus Falcons, but what's the expectations for that Bravo match of Weibo Virtus Pro?
Well, I think this group is so difficult to call, really, because usually I would say that Weibo Gaming is a team really to be feared when they're playing at their best. They're just firing on all cylinders. Shy can just take over games as well. But the meta is slightly different. It doesn't favor them as much. There's no Ilios in the pool. And I think that might even play to Virtus Pro strengths here as well. So I really do think it's a toss-up. Like, I'm not 50-50 between these two teams.
Jake, Virtus Pro was looking good last year. Are they underdogs? Can they do any damage?
I would argue that Virtus Pro really underperformed in EMEA to even be down in this, I believe, their 3rd seed out of EMEA, which, for this team, they've had much higher highs. And so they've had a bit of time off since the end of stage 2 to kind of recuperate. Curious what a player like the very wide variety of heroes, I think, talk about a player who's next up. Jaewoo is that guy for me right now, playing in Virtus Pro. And if they can really put the ball in his court and find the strategy that lets Jaewoo shine, Virtus Pro is a team, like you said, that could punch up. I kind of like them over Weibo right now.
We've brought in the best teams from around the world. They are all here to compete for the Esports World Cup title and to be crowned champions in front of all the fans. Day 1 of 4 begins right now.
Hello and welcome to the OWCS Mid-Season Championship, coming to you live from the EWC here in beautiful Riyadh. And for this one, we brought out more teams than ever before. 16 teams hailing from 6 regions, all competing for the lion's share of $1 million.
Absolutely. One team will rise above the rest and fly prestigious mid-season championship title.
That's right. But you know what? An exciting and very stacked group stage followed by a very high stakes single elimination playoffs bracket.
Absolutely. We are in for crushed keys, shattered dreams, and moments that will define the rest of the season. But let's not get ahead of ourselves because we've got a group stage to get to first.
We do indeed. 4 days of action ahead of us, and it all starts right here, right now. What do you say, Fancy? Are we ready for the teams?
Let's do it. Let's welcome the first team that's walking on stage. It is Weibo Gaming.
Next up, Virtus Pro.
Please welcome Team Liquid.
Next up, Rock Esports.
Up next, it's Vero.
And GK Esports. And Team CC.
Zucorp Esports.
Welcome T1.
Please welcome
and Sign Esports.
Next, the Gatos Guapos.
Two title winners of EWC, Crazy Raccoon.
The last two teams that will walk on stage will be our opening match of the day. Please welcome the new generation of the Korean Overwatch Elite, AGAL.
And they will be going up against your reigning EWC champions. Please welcome Team Falcons.
This marks the official start of the mid-season championship at the Esports World Cup. 16 teams, 1 championship. Let's get this started.
Thank you very much, Fancy and Zoe. It's Mitch Leslie and Matt Morello in the booth for you for our kickoff match here of our OWCS mid-season championship. And I'm going to say, straight off the bat, good to hear the Saudi crowd getting involved. A little bit of booze as well.
I love actually pretty good for Falcons, right? Because not only, obviously, they're like the hometown favorite, right? Everybody going crazy for Falcons. I think it's actually big for somebody like someone, right? Who, like, you know, kind of gets the crowd behind them, likes to play up to them. Having him in the mix there, and I know having that crowd behind them, I think that's going to pay off.
I couldn't tell if the shoe was putting the thumbs for, to echo the reaction to CR. Send it back to the crowd, but obviously, there's a rivalry there between Falcons and CR, but we have a couple of games before we can even get there, and it's worth sinking our teeth into this matchup a little bit because, look, we caught Falcons on a bit of a downswing, I think, here, stage 2, over in Korea. Obviously, having to fight through it, we talked about it on the Boulevard. Bloody hot out there, I'll tell you what. Having to fight through the LCQ, not always the most auspicious sign, but these guys in those Korea playoffs did get a couple of maps off Crazy Raccoon, but I don't know if they're quite on that level footing in that rivalry like they used to be. Not like they were in Hangzhou earlier this year.
And also, obviously, they're trying different things in terms of their team. Right, adding new players into the roster. It'll be a Freya band here, for Falcons, and then on the other side for all gamers, it will be a Kiri band. I was surprised a little bit. The fact that you can make a case for all gamers this series. You very well could, right?
Historically, the two teams obviously dodge each other in the OWCS Korea playoffs here in stage 2, but they do go head-to-head early on in the groups, and it is a sweep. 3-0 for this AGAL team. Falcons obviously looked a lot shakier back then, and we expect them to have maybe stabilized a little bit here, at least really zeroed in. On what their ideal lineup is supposed to look like. So we still expect big things, of course, of this.
And to remind you guys at home, this is a previous patch, right? So the map reworks are not in. It'll be a very similar meta probably to what you saw in stage 2 here. With a Freya gone early, right, you're looking at potentially, we're going to see like Cassidy, we're going to see Sojourn, obviously, and then also probably like Bap Lucio with the Kiri gun.
Yeah, exactly. Unless there's the kind of map where you can really stick a Malva comp in there. All, for example. This AGAL team, genuine young bloods rising up. Yes, as Kevin mentioned, obviously, a few of these players have featured on Overwatch League teams in the past, but have they found that spotlight for themselves? Not quite yet. They knocked a bunch of heads together over in their home region, though, so they should be hitting the ground running.
And this is a first to 2. All these early games in groups will be first to 2. Look, if you're going to pick an underdog, this is the type of scenario you would do it, right?
Who's the underdog here, Matt?
That's a really, honestly, it's a really interesting. I think you're relying on, for Falcons, right? Like a little bit of hometown love, hometown advantage, but also that they'll return to form and kind of get things back on track. But you're not sure on that, right?
Yeah, again, it's Falcons a little bit of an enigma. That wider as a region, and they kind of just walk. They're very objective, and no one really slows them down. It's now.
Does it tell you something though when someone did the interview with Danny? He was like, "I didn't think we would make it."
I don't know if that's classic,
player talked to one of the teams coming from South Korea and said, "Oh, we're not very good."
Oh no, we got that.
Do.
I got that yesterday in the media day. Oh yes, there was a typical level of sandbagging coming from many of our teams, but a lot of teams from Korea definitely respect what out of EMEA right now. Twisted minds are two teams that many expect can't fat finger the other ones, but you kind of can. It's just a little bit harder.
It's just, yeah.
Honestly, I think that's such Sigma gaming. Just, eliminate every distraction, every key that doesn't have a legitimate function. And of course, Falcons fans are already getting on their feet. I think they made it very clear what they thought of their opponents as well.
I mean, you walk the boulevard, there's spectators in Falcons jerseys. The team's got a little bit of a pop-up booth going on. I mean, everybody here supporting Falcons, and they're doing pretty well in that club championship. But they need to get a game win, right, to be eligible for that #1 spot, which here in Overwatch 2, it might be their best shot.
Pretty weird year for Falcons so far. I think when you take a team that is so good and then you just add, you add merit and someone into the mix, right? All of a sudden it's like, okay, like how are these guys supposed to fit in with the rest of the team, right? Is Stalker even here in Saudi Arabia? I don't even know. I mean, I haven't even seen him, but you still, you also sort of put all your eggs in the Hanbin basket on this team, right? Decided that you didn't really feel like you wanted a rotating tank core, and then someone came in. You're like, okay, maybe we do want extra options. So, they had extra DPS, they had extra on the team. I think finding the best 5 probably took them all off stage 2 in Korea to do.
It is quite interesting, though, that a team that was obviously playing as well as Falcons, and look, I mean, since OWCS has been created, right, they've been like 1-2 every event. I mean, they've been crazy Raccoon. That you would make an adjustment like that, right? Because it's a big adjustment, right? Bringing in another tank when Hanbin has been, very good for this team, and someone, what he's known for is playing all of the tanks, right? So now Hanbin's like, well, what is my role here?
Exactly.
Right? How do I fit in? It's in a rhythm. You kind of mess up the rhythm of the team, so to speak. And your hope, I think, though, in the long run, it works out way better.
You'll notice here on the stage that Melgaru is actually starting in the lineup here for AG over Jasmine. So Melgaru, obviously more the wrecking ball player, someone that, sort of gets mixed in here. We've seen the map select already. And in the first 2, I think this control map obviously takes far more precedence, far more important to really come out here with a strong showing. So it might be a ball, but obviously it really depends on how the maps sort of drop down. If we end up in control center, obviously it can be a little bit harder to pilot that wrecking ball. And it is the kind of comp that has been sort of talked about as something that can answer these sim looks, right? Popping up a sim into the air, making it quite vulnerable to that hit scan or that sort of Freya pressure from longer distance if she's available, which she isn't in this game. Obviously, it's a very powerful combination. So look to see, whether it's Sojin or even Cassie in some of these cases, try and find a way to punish him before she even gets to the front line and gets charged up.
Yeah, and we're getting the comms all sorted out on stage. That's what we're waiting for at the moment. Did you catch that Falcon sign, though? It's the Grim Reaper with the Falcons logo and all the other team logos around. That's a good one. Where, with the first map being Lijiang Tower, having your ball player in here, Guru, it's interesting because they talked about it even when they were over at the studio. There are some maps where you could play the ball, right? They mentioned that Ilios not in the map pool here, right? Which definitely hurts some ball play where, picking Li Shang Tower and then going for it, right? You're hoping it's not like Control Center.
And again, I think the best arena for ball on Helios was, of course, Ruins, and then sometimes we moved to Lighthouse, and some teams prefer to, fold the DV into some more of those compositions. Ideally, Team Falcons have a lineup now. They've sort of zeroed in on this five-player team that can kind of be a little bit more telegraphed in the kinds of comps you want to play. I'm going to use the Ultimates from EMEA as a good example of this, right? Now, of course, with our ban function, can really try and take away some of those strong picks in. Kiriko being removed, and also Freya out of the mix there. This is your reigning EWC champion and Team Falcons coming off a bit of a suspect stage 2 out in Korea against this AGAL team with it all to prove. And in terms of the wider club championship, both they and Falcons are still live to take it all.
Yeah, we still have a lot of EWC left, right? There's still a few weeks left after this one, so still an opportunity to make up some points in that club championship.
Moments away here from jumping into our first map of this first to 2 series, folks. We're on night market first here on Lijiang Tower. So it's a question of whether we see Mialgaru on this wrecking ball or something similarly mobile. Again, pretty important. These opening matches, you don't have a lot of room for error in first to 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, especially, right, you get into control here, you can end up with a loss pretty quickly, and then now you're basically out one map pick, right, to kind of turn your series around. So control, obviously always important as the first game in the series, but even more important here in this first to 2.
Off to the races we go, folks. The mid-season championship is officially underway. Already having a look at some of these early hovers. Obviously, we know the Team Falcons have looked to try and bring much more of those Symmetra comps in. Lucio and Baptiste with Kiriko being banned here, a bit more common. But in these Ramatra shells, you can take the chance of folding the Juno in. She just tends to look a little more vulnerable to that hit scan pressure that Sojourn can provide.
And as the gates open here, Mitch, we'll see if AGAL stated this as... Okay, so they're going to play the Moira with a Reaper. So this is like zombie, right? We saw some teams play Moira, just kind of in that like bunker.
You don't have enough rope to get away. They're low health in the Wraith War.
I mean, this is a great setup, though, for Falcons, right? I mean, you couldn't get a better setup here for Falcons.
Oh, trust me, they opened the wallet for it as well. They had Stalker, of course, waiting in the wings there. Obviously not featuring at this tournament. I've been told that he is chilling at home for the time being. He's in the mortality field now. It's going to be used for Falcons to be able to fall away, but she was still caught because Aid won't really give him that room to breathe. Trade those. Proper's found Sonja. This Tracer is something to look for. Proper now coming off injury, looking much improved and right at home.
They just haven't been able to combo with the venture, like whether it's flip this point. And they only had to use that amp matrix. I mean, they really don't have to use anything at all here. And now you're going to be walking into this merit overclock. Could be quite devastating here for all gamers.
AGL have enough to work with, at least. I think the Annihilation catch is going to be pretty crucial. Sound barriers are going to be required in this fight. First, though, it's going to be an overclock from Merit. And it's got a lot of room here. Milgaru defending himself, doesn't quite have the speed, but that Annihilation comes in and a great response. Speed boost for Chio, gets everybody out of trouble. Milgaru falls, though, to the Annihilation of someone, only at the cost of Fielder, which might have been worth it if the Death Blossom hadn't come in and taken that last remaining healer out of Falcon's composition. But AJL lack a frontliner. The best they can do is contest this point, but never get the flip and never take the lead back from Falcons.
And that's what Death Blossom, Sound Barrier, your Annihilation. This is looking pretty rough here for all gamers. You're still on this Moira, so now you're playing for like Coalescence here towards the end of the game. I would have loved to see
he didn't have Wraith Walk available. So
but imagine if he had an Immortality Field.
Right, or that cooldown, but it was 4 seconds away. But yeah. Point taken. I don't know if you want to burn that early, but yes, that would be a great way to answer a Pulse Bomb. And that's devastating that AJL don't have an answer for that. That's basically required reading at this point. Tech shock here. Aid goes in again. Baptista's nowhere to go. He only has a vertical mobility, which means he still gets caught. And Maka and Sonjun out of the game already. This should be curtains on Elite Damage, and Fielder is basically unassailable from this high ground position. Merritt a little bit low now. It's going to be an overclock popped by the man himself, and Aid tries to go upstairs, and it cost Baptiste, but there's just nothing to be done. Fielder barely try to be boosted, and of course it's just the Moira standing. Maka will be allowed to hang around a little bit longer, and that'll be that.
And I mean, look, we have seen teams in the history of Overwatch Esports try and challenge that backline with Fielder and Chio constantly and make plays for the...
Looking pleased about that. And it's exactly the opener you want to see. We've seen plenty of teams work the Moira, and it's not out of the ordinary maps, but a lot of things need to go right for you. Whereas with the Baptiste, you've got some really nice panic button cooldowns, right? You obviously have a nice little burst, AoE heal, the Immortality Field. There's a lot to offer, whereas Moira, you're a little bit narrower. You have a small window at which you need most of the impact of your team to be expressed. While that Biotic Orb is in play or, within the window of a Coalescence. So tough break here for AGAL, not the opener they were looking for, but Falcons make an early statement here. They are here to play.
No reason for someone to feel like they didn't, they weren't going to make it right, or they were going to fall behind, especially with that type of performance. And I think you get these heroes into the mix. I think you're in a great spot, and the crowd going crazy with one more game. That's all we need for a Falcons win here early on.
Here we go. So discussion, of course, about our next map pick in this series. It's a first to two, folks. So again, we don't often see quote unquote best of three Overwatch, but in these high stakes opener matches, you can't really afford to, obviously you can't afford to drop your map pick.
Right, and we see that there. They never get the opportunity to potentially play the ball, right, if we're thinking that's going to be the case. So we'll see as the, map selection and bans coming in here live, how things will pan out here. It does feel like Falcons, though, has a bit of an advantage.
It's unclear whether Jasmine is going to be tapped to sub in here for all gamers, or Milgaru will be their go-to for yet another map. Naturally, it's map dependent. And these are only decided after the loss of the first map. I can't shush. My job is to talk.
Who's telling you to shush?
I don't know. I'm assuming it's the Falcons fans. I've got good things to say about your team, guys. Don't worry about it.
No, I mean, they're awesome to be able to watch play. I mean, some of these players just like historic throughout Overwatch history, right?
Some. All of them, man.
Yeah. Oh, what? Did I say some?
You did, yeah.
Some? All right. Well, all of them. No, that'll...
And yet, I spent some time with the players yesterday, and I asked them to sort of, one of the TikTok questions I asked them was to create your all-star team. Right?
You asked them the TikTok?
Well, it was in the TikTok format, I guess, by definition. It was TikTok questions. I said, create all-star team of 5 of the best players of every era of Overwatch. So I'm giving them access to like Jonak. I'm giving them access to like those, you know,
the boomer era.
Yeah,
the boomer
the
era,
fighters of the world. And they basically, many answers were, just give me Crazy Raccoon. Yeah, with either of the tanks.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. And that should tell you everything you need to know. The game has evolved drastically since those very, very early years of the Overwatch League, and yet, you know, Crazy Raccoon are one team that's expressing just some of the greatest skill we've maybe ever seen across the game.
I'm surprised you didn't show them any of your things.
I don't know if they made the final cut, though.
Right.
Yeah. I did ask Elysium to do one with me, but yeah.
It doesn't sound like it worked out.
No, it wasn't about it.
Yeah, I mean, this era of Overwatch, just as a whole, right? Even with the players and all gamers, like, you think back, I mean, it seems like a long time ago, but it's really not that long ago, where, like, you had specialists for, like, you know, hit scan, and, like, it's so different now. I mean, you have to be able to play just about everything.
Can we get some of these Saudi fans out for the rest of our road shows here?
Right?
I don't know what he's been up to. You know, maybe living a normal life. He's been streaming a little bit, you know, over in China since. I mean, I think that Alcacio to be feared in that particular matchup, being folded ever so lovingly.
Yeah, the lens cleaner, they're kitted out on stage. The keyboard with no keys.
I've seen how these guys get treated out here in Saudi. Right? They've been furnished with everything that they could ask.
And you see fans from both sides, right? All gamers fans here. I've seen people walking around in you know, Gen G gear for different games. It's really fun to see like how passionate everybody is in the arena.
Yeah, if you're like, I don't know, if you're interested in sort of following along with the club championship at the Esports World Cup, you know that both of these teams are sort of in the top 3 right now, and obviously like high placement across a number of games is kind of required. But Falcons were the club
you see
last year.
Okay, did you see that's Meligaru's keyboard? And where the WASD is, you can see it here. Actually, his name. That's pretty sweet.
There's no A.
Yeah,
it's been because he's already got an A, and I guess he would have to get another set of keycaps for the other A.
Right.
So he just got one set of keycaps. I mean, that's fair.
I think you need to hook him up.
You want me to hook him up
with another set? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fill it out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The Uber Shouts line of keycaps coming straight to you, folks. Don't worry. Okay, Artless going to be the pick here. So obviously, one of our newest map coming in a Flashpoint of Matra and Kiriko band. So both teams actually bringing out Kiriko bands in these first 2.
Which is interesting because like all gamers didn't seem to want to play like a Kiri, right? And then when the Kiri's gone, their fallback is to Moira, which I think if their fallback is to Moira, right? If you're Falcons, sure, get rid of the Kiri and make them play Moira Lucio. The Ram being gone is interesting. This map, at least early on, right, seems to play a little bit brawly. So curious what we'll see. Maybe we see like a Risa, maybe we see a Maga in the mix, right? We've seen teams in Korea run like the Venture with Maga, right? Combo. Ever since they've both been introduced to the game, that's always been a really good combo, right? The Maga stomp into the Venture burrow and then come out with the amount of damage usually is enough to kill a target.
I do think the Ramatra ban is pretty decisive coming out from AG here. Melgari had to match up against someone in that mirror, but I don't really think the issue for the composition originated from the fact that we had a Ramatra mirror. We obviously pointed fingers at the Moira comp and maybe felt that the way to play it successfully wasn't something that AG were able to tap into. I'm going to try and put it as diplomatically as possible.
Well, when you went on with that long hiatus during stage 2, and I got the cast with the wonderful Jake, he did not like these Moira comps. I bet you he's in the green room fuming, watching all gamers come out here playing Moira off the.
I mean, the problem is that is a composition whose failure state is the fight lasts longer than 15 seconds. That's again, when you're up against a very good team and a Baptiste who is designed to for a longer
Extend
fight,
yeah.
that is obviously a problem. I do think like the switch to the Venture to pressure Baptiste is effective because he does not have lateral mobility. So when you see Venture,
You do have the perk where you can dash, right?
That
so
is
we did see Fielder end up picking that up. Game here in just a second.
Yep.
I've been gaming it.
Came in on season 17, so we didn't see it featured in the OWCS stage 2 whatsoever. So obviously, I think this first point is pretty brutal to play around. Obviously, Station is that sort of concentric part of the map. Again, I do think that it's no surprise to see these teams try to take Ramatra out. If you're AGAL, obviously these Brawly style setups can look pretty good here.
Points like this traditionally in Overwatch are pretty brutal, right? Like low ground, high ground, where especially like there's hit scans in the meta, whether it be Sojourn, Freya is available here for this map, or
I really like the look of Station. Of course, Bazaar is really good. They're all very distinctive from each other, folks. But it does start over on Station. Sondren here with a Gerkmeister shout out. Big fan of that one, bro. Miss Gerkmeister in MEA.
So let's see. So Falcons could end up playing the Diva. They could also end up pausing. So
there's a problem here. Okay, so the issue is that when we have our bans, normally the way the API has worked in the past is that you can actually select that hero in the lobby. Kiriko is banned. Marka is currently selected Kiriko in spawn.
That doesn't seem like it should be something that happens.
No, you don't want that. That was obviously Falcon's follow-up ban.
I don't work in League Ops, but that would be something I would be a little.
I think that
on TikTok, they don't even know they're on.
Yeah, that's okay. These guys are on. Okay. Yep.
They do. The Falcons fans getting hyped. So this is a team comms issue. So we'll get that one sorted. We'll get right back into game. And I tell you. You were right. We got to get these Falcons fans out.
Yep.
I mean,
I'm not kidding. The Ultras go hard.
the gaming fans.
Also,
gaming fans.
Falcons, you credit to them because they double dip heavily into the Korean fan base, who's also amazing, and the Saudi fan base. So like, it kind of doesn't matter where you go with these guys. There's always going to be chants in the crowd. Obviously, big shout out to those that made the trip out here, and of course to the locals who have shown us some fantastic hospitality.
Oh, the food. I mean, we talked about it on the.
I know. Yeah, I mean, sounds scripted, folks, but I meant what I said. I was, thinking about the morning for breakfast.
You do usually say that though every place we go. So I don't know when this diet actually kicks in.
It actually happens in the gaps between the travel, and sometimes, sometimes they get a little.
When nobody's around. Yeah.
That's it.
That's what they all say.
Tell you what, Fielder here as well, just trying to make sure it can be heard across the rest of his team.
Yeah, we're getting audio all sorted, water all sorted, but I would love to see them try and play ball. That seems like the other Flashpoint in the pool. New Junk City, there's no chance of doing it there, right? I mean, you have limited options to be able to do it.
It feels a little constrained on a map like Arcus, at least on some points anyway.
I think we got Surmajed in the venue doing a coach as well. So Surmajed on Twitter, he's getting the coach.
Yeah, even if you're not gaming, so to those teams that don't quite make it into the main stage of this mid-season championship, they'll be able to keep themselves. Someone gonna be on the Diva. We have Curies here for both sides. Okay.
So potentially the bans are inaccurate. Because we do see Kiri in the game. So,
okay.
No ban we didn't hear about.
Okay,
but, no,
that's fine.
But it does change things a little bit. Like the Kiri is awesome. The combo with the Wrecking Ball, right?
Daisy Rod, it was actually a Symmetra ban for those that are wondering here. So, still, obviously, Wrecking Ball pretty good at going after comps with a centerpiece. I think Sojourn is obviously.
When Matra's gone, you're like, we want to play Diva, so you want Kiri yourself. But knowing the other team is going to play ball, I feel like it's more sizable advantage with the Kiri with the ball as opposed to you with the Diva.
Well, yeah, it also gives you the option to take these side fights, alongside your Tracers. Ball's a bit more self-sufficient. Diva to some degree as well can always make use of those health packs and be where she's needed for easy healing. Falcons are gone, though, over towards the Reaper. And there's always like a spectrum you see as teams start to switch their comms to answer bad. They've been able to finally zoom in up towards that high ground. Pulse no stick here for Sonjin, but he's been causing problems just the old-fashioned way over much of the course of this game. And now Proper's been able to zero in on the enemy Tracer. And you'll probably see him try and control these flank angles a little bit more with the pulse bomb of his own in hand.
And this ball is going to be tough to get off the point, so you're not going to see the pulse bomb come out there from Proper. You're just going to get hit by a drive-by as they're never able to deal with the ball. Venture also causing chaos, as this is going to be all gamers taking that first point.
That's a great look. Someone has to the fight contest, then he heads upstairs, but kind of leaves his backline alone. Looks like the sort of stiff stance or put pressure on a backline can be a little bit hard to protect your own team as you've headed elsewhere.
So well, I for a second thought we were going to get like a pile driver minefield on the rotation here, but it's going to be Maka ends up using the Kitsune Rush. It's going to be a sound barrier here for Chio, and a later Kitsune Rush from Fielder, but he dropped.
It's the start that we're looking for here for Team Falcons. Mark currently zooming already fall by the wayside, and Proper here is starting to heat up just a little bit more. Pulse bomb still being held onto, not necessary thus far. Wrecking ball compositions, they haven't really had to do too much contortionism to find a setup that at least puts them on even footing with it.
It's still really difficult to get the ball out of these fights, and now all gamers, they actually hold on to their sound barrier, so a distinct advantage coming into this fight. You're going to have minefield plus sound barrier, going to be very difficult to take out some of these targets.
Up with them. They should have been with a sound barrier, but everyone's kind of split. Okay, knocked up. All right, still. Sound barrier deployed. 8 went pretty low, though, before that came in. Sonjin's already lost that overshield now, dropping low himself. A sound barrier here for Merit's found 2. 8 and Marker fall. But Milgaru's been able to dig up both healers from Falcon's side of things. That's a good sign. However, still more work to be done. Milgaru trying to stay scarce of a lot of this pressure, and the minefield deployed over the point likely means that AG at least should have themselves a flip, something that someone will try and stall off a little longer.
And you have Chio and Proper here, so not out of this just yet. You're going to be able to kind of extend this to possibly 99 here for Falcons. Now someone gets demeched.
In the fight, they may not even need him later. Proper with a recall. Pulse bomb still at 3. Someone, though, was taken down out of mech with nothing but the bunny blaster to work with. Aid topped up as well. Sonjin trying to stay off the point for the time being, but have to contest in bits and pieces. Got to make use of the absence of Falcons. Someone's going to be returning on Winston. Mark will be able to avoid that pulse bomb, though. Proper not quite able to find a stick, and now
arguably a signature hero. So we see them tying it up there with a 0.1, but I think that was also one where all gamers, I mean, look, I don't think they should have won it, right? But you could have at least started to flip it and gain some progress, and then who knows what happens after that.
Kitsune Rush here held onto by Fielder. Not needed in that last fight whatsoever. Milgaru's got to be careful, but you see Aid really trying to push with him, and the tectonic shock perfectly timed is all of them.
Rush from Fielder too.
Yes. Popsicle got blown up instantly. Don't know if there's any value to be extracted from it. You can see it there off for distance, but Falcons made the choice to move into the choke there and really got punched.
And I thought Melo some of these players is rotating on the outside.
Oh, that TP, that's a tough pill to swallow. He's got to spawn. The disruption Milgaru is reeking. He knows it's going to be very, very, very hard for Falcons to get their ducks in a row to have a chance to contest this. And now they sit on a Kitsune Rush of their own, sound barrier to combine with it. Deck is stacked in favor of AG.
I think if you're AG, though, you try and get away with what? And that's going to be the Kitsune Rush. And Chio takes out Maka, so that goes for nothing. Lusamin's going to use that sound barrier, come to the high ground, connects with everybody, going to negate really anything happening with that Death Blast.
So Maka makes a risky decision to actually get the Kitsune Rush off, even though he knows he's likely going to die. And AG actually make decent use of it. But they committed both ults. So that's not good at all. Sunjin, I think, caught a drive by Milgaru, who might have been stuck. Either way, a double pulse here. Fired very quickly back in Falcon's favor. Proper is back.
That is definitely a pulse bomb that can onto the wrecking ball and just swings himself to Tracer and proper 2-for-1 with the pulse. And okay, now you take out proper. This is huge. Primals have to be used by someone here at some point.
Yeah, lucky just to stall this. Clearly more aggressive wins. Lucio player, rather. Pulse here for Sonjin, no connection. Might have been a recall there from Proper, and that someone has to go for this Primal. Dangerous for Raiders, yep. They're going to be knocked over the edge. Marks the swift step away, and Falcons still have control at this point now. They know they're going to maintain it, but Fielder's going to be coming back into the fight with a Kitsune Rush, and someone's looking for yet another target to harass, to harry down. Someone will be topped up, and Falcons look to be in a position to go 2-1 up now if AG don't have a convincing fight. Look how they go forward with this rush, Matt. Perfectly employing it. And
aggression there from Falcons. They kind of rotate around, and they catch AG off a little bit, and they barrel down 2 players, and having that advantage, that's going to allow Falcons to take this point.
Yeah, look, AG do have the mobility, right? But Milgaru not able to stay alive. It's all along. Just as he looked like they got off to dream, rest the game back into their favor.
So I think wins from Sleeper as well. I think the Kiri make through has been huge here for both teams.
Leave the rest of that AG lineup. Milgaru not able to displace the Reaper away from the soft underbelly of their composition. Our final flashball.
Full support ult here. I think if you blow through these and you don't flip it, you are. I mean, there's not much else you can do, right? Maybe you decide to save one, give yourself a second fight opportunity.
Merit this time falling. Falcons are going to have to pay the piper and regroup.
I hated that fight from Falcons. I'm going to agree with you. Like using the sound barrier that early on, especially when they
it starts with the back cap.
Yeah, but then you're just at such a huge support ultimate disadvantage there, where all gamers, they're able to flip that pretty early, Mitch, where they're already going to have 70%.
All right, Proper though. Found a bit of damage today. Cheers able to chase it down. Okay, very quickly, Falcons, without having to make use of any of these ultimates outside of just the Primal Rage for sustain of some, didn't quite have the defensive cooldowns.
So we'll see Falcons push up. They don't have like a Kitsune Rush to work with here, right? So maybe they're seeing if they can catch out like the Lucio, put some pressure onto a Tracer, like force recall here is a lot of pressure here from Proper on the Milgaru. He's trying to get towards the point.
Proper's Pulse Bomb could end the series, but it's another pick-off on Aid. He's just been having some trouble, I think, getting where he needs to be. Fielder really matching Marker in terms of that kill pressure offered by Kiriko. Milgaru again looking to disrupt, but really it's hard to take the eyes off Lee Su-min. That's not great for AG here. They are running out of healers and time as we head into yet another STC overtime, and there's no presence here for AG on the point. The fight is so split, so disparate, and A can barely get to the point. Proper Spencer Pulse Bomb forcing out the Rape Hawk, and now, that Shadow Step can only be used to get A to the point. He instantly is taken down as Chio comes to collect. Milgaru takes a face full of damage off that Dead Blossom, and there you have it, folks, a dream scenario for our defending champions. Falcons start strong in game one.
For a lot of the fans in the crowd, Falcons takes care of business against a bit of a frisky all gamers team. I think it'll give some teams in this group some trouble.
And again, I think there's always a reality check you have to face when there's a team like Falcons who maybe underperform a little bit throughout the regular stage and qualifying for this mid-season championship. These are the games that matter. When you turn up looking like this, like you finally trim the fat on this team, when you've streamlined Falcons, reminding us that they are a team to be feared in any stage of the season.
Yeah, and we've seen teams in the history of Overwatch, right, where they
The fact is, there are so many incredible teams out there at OWCS Korea, and not all of them can auto-qualify. Let's head now back to the studio. Puckett and the boys going to break down a first match of our mid-season championship.
Great work there, UberX. Love that combo back to
went to it responsibly to the ball diver. Really, all he has to do in that comp is just live a little bit longer, contribute a little bit more. And Reaper, while maybe not the most meta pick, actually proved to be a real problem for the Wrecking Ball, for the Lucio Kiriko. A lot of those 2-kill Death Blossoms were fight winning there on Atlas.
one of our favorite duos to watch, but on the other side of this duo, you had the Tracer. And that was the impact that I feel that everyone felt on that stage. Proper with the sticks. He got a 2-piece at one point, causing all kinds of problems. Who has the better Tracer as this tournament goes on?
It's got to be probably one of the top in the entire world, and it's not going to be tough to match. And this is a team that has Stalker on the lineup as well. I think he's at this event, but he's also just an embarrassment of riches for this team of Falcons. But you look at this type of composition, what's really interesting is we got the Ram matchup early on, but we actually didn't see the sim yet. Falcons are a team that are capable of playing that. It was banned on the second map, and that's something that they can still bring on through. So we haven't even seen, I think, the real width and what Falcons can bring to the table in terms of their flexibility. And what you're seeing here is just the masterclass from the mechanics of Proper on that Tracer. Second map of Atlas, double pulse bomb, really brought that map back.
A quick 2-0. What do you think of Atlas at competition?
It's great to see, some of the diversity, seeing the Wrecking Ball come out there, even the Winston. I really didn't think we'd see too much Winston in this tournament, but maybe we'll see a little bit more of it. Someone able to bring it out to back there. And I think a lot of this is both teams showing the diversity that they have. I don't think that's something that Falcons necessarily practiced or had super tightly prepared, but they're just very comfortable flexibly adapting to the matchup.
Well, you see from AG as well, that's really part of their identity. Milgaru on the ball. So
is made for in Overwatch is setting up, burrowing in under your opponents, starting with a dig, and then the rest of your team kind of jump in and supports you when you go in for that committed play. And that type of strategy is something we definitely could see more of. But I think it's really, this is two Korean teams matching up, so we get to see more of that flair. I think when we see those cross-regional matchups is when things are going to get really interesting.
I know it's super early in the tournament. It's only one match But who is shining from the Falcons right now? Can you identify one individual on that five-man squad?
I mean, if you just take a look at the highlights, I think it was pretty clear there. It was a lot of proper on the Tracer. However, I do think moving forward in the tournament, you're not just going to see proper Tracer. He's got a lot of flexibility. I do think at some stage he will flex onto the sim. What people are probably thinking is proper a sim player. Remember, they have Sparkle on the coaching side.
Yeah.
See Sparkle standing behind the team. Sparkle was one of the progenitors of the symmetric positions way back 2022 Dallas Field with Rush, with Fearless. Symmetra was like kind of the bread and butter of that team, and Sparkle, the pilot of that particular hero. So now bringing that expertise into Falcons as what I still like to believe is probably the best Brawl team in the world. Falcons literally won Stockholm World Championship last year, playing Brawl, beating Crazy Raccoon, and now we're back into another Brawl.
Wave, I mean, going back to their bread and butter, they're playing the hazard dive so far, at least that we've seen in that matchup. So it's something great to see from Gushui, you know, flexing a little bit off the Winston, but still a composition that their team is very comfortable on. And they're a team historically that stylistically just does their own thing.
To make sure you have both Alpha and Bravo open. We are going to come back with our second match of the day, but if you spot in our playoff bracket around 8:45 as we go to break.
What's good, everybody? Danny Lim here. Overwatch is just beginning, but other games are currently in the heat of competition, just like PUBG Mobile. And we got Veracity here to tell us a bit more about PUBG Mobile. Who are the top 3 teams right now?
Well, right now we have Horror Esports, Fireflux, and of course Power, the MENA team.
Very interesting. I mean, if you have time, is done, you should come over because we got some great games.
Done deal. I'm absolutely going to come and check it out.
All right. Welcome to the Boulevard, everybody. This is where the fun starts and ends. I mean, if you're waiting for your favorite match to start, this is the place to be. If you're in the middle of waiting and if you got some time to kill, this is where you're supposed to be. Why? Because We got tons of attraction, tons of fun stuff, food, beverage, you name it. It's all here at the Boulevard. Now, I feel like it's better to just show than tell, right? So less talking, more showing.
Welcome to the Mid-Season Championship at Esports World Cup 2025. This is your Jamil Motorsports arrival cam of Crazy Raccoon, the 2024 champions, taking the stage once again. Johnny, everyone has been talking about this. Squad. Why are Crazy Raccoon considered the greatest to touch Overwatch?
Well, they're the reigning champions, first of all, when it comes to the Overwatch majors, because Champions Clash was played this spring, of course, and they beat Team Falcons in the grand final. So they hold the current top crown. Now, of course, they had a bit of a slip-up in OWCS Korea. They didn't win then. But still, I mean, they are the reigning champions here at Esports World Cup as well. They just, every major they compete, they make it, they qualify for the grand final. They got a super strong roster. I think they are the #1 favorite to win the entire thing this weekend again.
You know, we were so excited for Shu last year as he took home the MVP honors for their performance in the grand finals. He was quoted for saying, "We're still hungry, Avril. This team still with a lot to prove."
I know, and that's like I love to see that aspiration coming through from the team, because really what they have still left to prove is to be world champion again. They won EWC last year, but they lost Stockholm to Falcons. They're looking for a perfect year. They already won Hangzhou earlier. Chu already has an MVP from EWC last year, and he's got an MVP from Hangzhou as well for Champions Clash. He wants another MVP on top of that. He is probably the best support, not even probably, he is the best support player of all time.
Taking a look at this roster, what is the scariest portion? Is it their front line? Is it the back line? Is it the tanks? What do you got, John?
I mean, boring answer, but it's the full team really, because every single player is arguably the best player at their role. But I will say Lip, arguably the greatest player of all time in Overwatch, and can just take over games when it comes to the hit scan role, especially in playoff tournaments. Lip can just step it up and just like kill 5 opposing players. So you got to really look out for Lip in this one.
I really do like watching Lip. Remember last year, he won the MVP for the first 2 days. What should we know about this star player entering this matchup, Avril?
I think it probably is the GOAT at this stage. I mean, there have been many conversations. I've been batting for Violet for many a time, many a year, but at this stage, Lip has won more. He is the best hit scan player in the entire world. And, you know, there are rumors about how long he's still got left to go. This could be his last year. So he wants to go out with as many titles as possible. He wants to take an MVP from Shu if he can as well. He's got a very important role to play on this team. He's one of the most veteran players in all of Overwatch. And really high expectations for him and his team.
Looking to go back-to-back is Crazy Raccoon here at EWC, and we caught up with Max.
What's up, everybody? I'm here joined by Max from Crazy Raccoons. Right before their match, we're going to have a quick chat, pre-match. Max, how are you All right, let's make this quick. Your first match is to read. 바렐과의 경기였죠.
저희 코리안대 안.
I don't think a good matchup. All right, Crazy Raccoons, you guys won here for the Overwatch. Honestly, believe that you guys could win it again. Do you guys have a high chance of becoming the champions of 2025 EWC? 자, 작년에 우승을 하고 또 이번에도 어떻게 보면 굉장히 좋은 성적을 내고 있는데 어떻게 맥스 선수가 보시기에 이번 연도도 우승을 쉽게 좀 하실 것 같으신가요?
지금 다른 팀들도 다 스크림 해봤는데 다 폼이 올라왔는데 그래도 저희가 이번 연도도 우승해가지고.
Scrims, it does feel like we are going to be crowned the champions again, and I think that's how it's going to go. All right, Max, that's it for the interview. Thank you so much. Good luck on your match. 자, 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
Max and squad already in the STC arena. Is there a better opportunity to maybe steal back-to-back games?
I don't know if it's really going to help them, unfortunately. This is the type of game, Overwatch in general is the type of game where typically the better team is going to be that much better. I do want to speak positively though. Valve is currently the best team in Japan.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt, twice this year. Stage 1, Stage 2, champions. Most recently this stage, they went 4-0 in the finals. Even better than that, they were completely undefeated. The last time they even lost a series in the OWCS was against Zeta Division in the Asia Stage 1 matches where they got the Korea and Japan MSC. I say shoot, they are the best Valve.
Stacked against you, but we got to take a look here at the big picture and what is going on, because this is group stages. This is your turn to take that life if you need. You have a second life down in the losers bracket, but Group B, not one of the easier ones, Johnny. I'm looking here. You're playing either Liquid or Rock Esports in that second round. The winner of that matchup will be playing, of course, the winner of this.
Right, and I think actually Liquid, we predict them to be the second best team in the group, but they're kind of the team for beat for either Rock or Varel. Yes, you're going to play against Crazy Raccoon, of course, it's bound to happen, but if you can at least put up a good result, if you can have a good showing, maybe go back, learn something from this game, and just prepare yourself better for a match against Liquid, that is where the real upset could happen. And I think Liquid, they're another team with a lot of pressure on their shoulders. That is the team that Rock and Varel will look to upset.
Yeah, I think Varel needs to really look towards the Liquid game. We're probably looking towards Varel and Rock being the lower side of the bracket. So first of all, they have to get past Rock, and that won't be an easy. they're like the best team in the world still. If it's not Falcons, it's probably Crazy Raccoon. And so going up against either of these two teams, it's just asking for so much.
And Johnny, I was telling everyone on Call of Duty last week, when you have the tournament, so let's turn our attention to Crazy Raccoon. If we want to see just what level they're playing at, how can you tell when they're playing in peak form?
Well, they're going to be dominant. That's how we'll be able to tell. But that is a problem when you're playing some of these Korean teams. They actually sometimes, they like not necessarily to hide things, but they like to gather information, like you just put it, Pocket. They will scrim some of these best teams in the world, EMEA, North America, and they do official tournament play. And so they're kind of like hiding their own strength a little bit. They're not using bans and picks the same way in practice. Come out and just fire on all cylinders. One thing, but actually, if they, maybe let Varel into the series a little bit, that could be them playing with confidence and saying, we don't need to show everything we got.
Chat, we went all the way through the run of the show, and then I was told the players are not ready yet. So let's pull this back a little bit. We got about 5 minutes before this match is ready. So let's kind of overview on the day. We're going into match 2 in our groups. At the end of the day, we're going to be sending 2 teams into that playoff bracket, and that's where the real money is scored. But this is an opportunity to put on for your region, right? This is the world competition that we've been waiting for, where everyone gets to see where they stack up. Where are we at right now? Korea's still head and shoulders above the rest of the world?
Yeah, absolutely. And the really interesting thing here is Japan, this is like their first real international event because they've been to stage like an Asia stage final before where you get to play against the rest of Asia. When we talk about international majors where you get EMEA in North America and now China in this 2025 year as well, Japan hasn't had that opportunity realistically yet. So, I mean, with Varel especially, they have a lot to prove here. So, I mean, Korea's obviously going to be top dogs by default. I think EMA's really closed the gap a lot. EMEA should be pretty damn good this tournament, and they will try to catch up to EMEA, even though at Hangzhou, and they probably outperformed EMEA, but power rankings, at least in my opinion, have shifted a little. China is always going to be a wild card because Weibo Gaming, they're about the Korea level, but the rest of China is probably not quite there just yet. In Japan, well, they're catching up to everyone else.
Speaking of Weibo, I'm told they're over on Bravo. Let's check in with that broadcast when we can. I want to see, are they going to be able to get a clean 2-0 over Virtus Pro? Johnny, we're jumping into map 2. What are we witnessing?
Well, it's a bit of a surprise here. Avril mentioned it to me before we went on. Ice Gnome, the tank player for Virtus Pro, is actually playing Symmetra for this Virtus Pro squad. It's something we talked about reflecting on stage 2. Virtus Pro, they're not really a Symmetra team. Jwoo was not able to pick up this hero, and it put them at a disadvantage going up against teams like Alcadzia, Twisted Minds. So now they're putting their tank player on this hero to give them the best chance in the tournament. But Weibo Gaming, they're up 1-0 right now. They are looking really comfortable with Shy on this Sojourn. So Weibo Gaming is looking like they're firing on all cylinders.
And to sort of give a little bit of hopium to Virtus Pro here, Ixnom has played a lot of Symmetra recently. He's hit pretty high ranks on the ladder for Symmetra, so he's been really grinding this here. He has specifically one as intricate and unique as Symmetra. I mean, this is typically Symmetra is like a niche pick. You need to be a specialist almost to really get the most out of this hero. We did see, like you said, Johnny, in stage 2 in EMEA, Virtus Pro, the reason they're so far behind Alcadzia and Twisted Minds in that playoffs and the rest of the stage is they just couldn't wrap their minds around getting the Symmetra into the team. We saw a lot of Jwoo trying to get it for the team, and it just wasn't quite there. So Smash and the rest of the team now are trying to change things up a little, see if they can fit another play into that role and find the success. But for VP, I think this game's a struggle right now. I don't know if they can win against Weibo.
Weibo looks like they got a lot of ultimates coming online, Johnny. Is this the finish here?
This could be the finish right here. And actually, I'm quite pleasantly surprised to see Weibo Gaming playing these kind of compositions because I talked about it in the pre-show. Shy, Overclock running right now. Sunbury coming through from Fixa, going to keep Virtus Pro alive. But when Shy plays this hero, I mean, absolute difference maker. And that is going to propel Weibo further as this tournament progresses. So them playing Lucio Kiri with a Sojourn, that is real good news for Weibo Gaming. They might not be able to flex over to the Symmetra as some of the other top teams in the tournament, but at least against a team like Virtus Pro, this is giving Weibo Gaming a real good chance with 2 minutes 30 on the clock here.
If you're paying attention as well, there's one really interesting thing about Weibo is you look at the tank position, Gushray's been subbed out for Liga, so many people may not be aware because Liga doesn't play very often for this team, but he is the off tank for Weibo Gaming. He is going to be the one coming in if they need to play Diva, if they need to play the Orisa, obviously, potentially even the Ram. I know Gushray's also been playing a ton of Ram at the moment.
All right, gentlemen, we got to jump out of that one because our stage is ready to go. We're going into Group B while Group A continues over on Bravo. Reminder, open up both of those streams, but it's time to get the official predictions in. Crazy Raccoon 2-0?
Has to be, yeah. It'll be insane for them not to.
Where can Veril take a map? Game 2, they get to choose the map, Johnny.
Don't go to Watchpoint Gibraltar. Just don't do that. Go anywhere else.
Go anywhere but Watchpoint Gibraltar. The casters have their picks in. Put yours in the chat right now because Game 2 of the day starts on the stage.
Well, that first match was a one-sided affair, Francie, but I have to admit it is quite great to see Falcons back on their winning ways.
Absolutely, they for sure did. Our next match, though, features two teams who made serious waves in their home regions, and they're looking to prove themselves right here on an international stage.
Yeah, I am very excited to see both of them play right here and potentially riding the momentum that they both had during the regular season play.
Absolutely, so let's not waste another second and let's call out the teams. First, we've got OWCS Stage 2 winners from Japan just last month, and they're hungry to show what they can do right here in Riyadh. Please welcome Veril.
But they are going up against a team which is predicted to win it all, a team with a legacy and therefore also a target on their back. They're looking for back-to-back international titles. Please make some noise for Crazy Raccoon.
Styles are about to clash, and the winner walks away with a massive step forward towards the playoffs. Casters, take it away.
Thank you very much, So in Fancy. This matchup, while our first of the day on paper looked to be a bit of a tight one, this could be viewed as a bit of a mismatch. Varel obviously dominated over in their home region, Matt.
Yes.
Even taking down a reject team that featured Edison and Kalios.
Oh, that's
a throwback. 4-0.
Yeah.
No, that was the name of the team was Reject. Yeah, that was the name. Yeah. To get obviously to this tournament, whereas it's Crazy Raccoon.
It's a little bit too true, though.
I would never say that about them, mate. All right, that is crazy work. Crazy Raccoon obviously didn't have to win OWCS Career Stage 2, being our Champions Clash champions, but they did it anyway, just because they can.
And they feel inevitable. I think that's why the fans are constantly booing them, because they know that eventually Falcons will have to play them, you would think, at some point, right? Bizarre, potentially some upset along the way to be able to win the whole thing. And you see Shu already starting with the crowd, right? Every time comes out, he's got his thumbs down.
Was he like? Is he cooking? What was the other one?
Yeah,
stirring.
He was stirring the pot a little bit. He's cooking, stirring the pot. I mean,
I like that a lot. Yeah. Now, if you joined us for 2023 Overwatch World Cup, you'd actually recognize a number of these viral players. Obviously, Japan really in the later stages of that tournament. but there's some, we call them like old heads, I would say, of the Japanese scene have turned up. Yet players such as Nico, such as KSG, Varel here are a dominant team in their home region. They've been supplemented by the mercenary duo of Top Dragon and Slay, who sort of just made their way across Asia, finding the best team possible to represent.
No, with the OWCS though, like the support for Japan, like it is popped off though. It's like one of the regions that's really got a lot of fanfare behind them. So great to see Varel represented on this stage as well. Unfortunately for Varel though, I mean they run into one of the matchups I think everybody would have loved to avoid, right? They're kind of our sacrifice to Crazy Raccoon here early on.
Of course, Coach Moon is at the helm of this Crazy Raccoon team. We had a word with him earlier actually today, just kind of asked him on his thoughts about, Varel, for example, and he said, well, honestly, we don't know a ton about them. We obviously don't sort of scrim each other very heavily coming into this, given that we know we're facing off in the opener. So we've sort of independently been making our preparations here, but just having a look at their style, having a look at some of the comps, he said, definitely respect Top Dragon. I think they've got some quality, but, we're the best in the world for a reason.
They're not worried about anything. I mean, when you look at this roster top to bottom, and you were saying that you were asking a lot of these players, like, who could you have as like a dream team?
Yeah.
I mean, you look up and down the roster, and it's like hard to really make an argument of like, who would you get rid of? If you had to kind of make a dream team, all-star team for Overwatch, as I mean, all of like Shu. I feel like we talk so much about all like Lip and Hisang and obviously the tanks. Like Shu is still so good. Like, oh yeah, and compared to obviously we have a lot of great flex supports in Overwatch, but like I still feel like he's like head and shoulders above like everybody else.
I'd say 80% of the players that I asked, at least Chorong and Shu were the backline of their all-star team.
Yeah.
Right? Like, these guys are unbelievable. Chorong is one of the most stable players. He obviously led the Florida Mayhem to a Overwatch League championship by an incredible margin. That team was dominant in that year. Chorong, as a, Brigitte player, but also showed many of those other looks on Lucio as well, just incredible. So Ramatra already being targeted by so many teams early on in some of these control maps. Kiriko also tends to be the response from them. Again, sometimes it's an answer saying, hey, like we know Crazy Raccoon are a team that can play ball.
Yeah.
Junbin will play Wrecking Ball, especially when Ilios was back in the pool. So sometimes removing that Kiriko makes it a little bit less robust, a little bit harder to set up those comps that want to use Tracer and Kiri as a 1-2 punch on a flanking. You've got to be afraid of Crazy Raccoon if you sort of leave those heroes available.
And Ramatra is so good at playing so many different styles of play, right? I think that's another reason why teams are like getting rid of Ramatra early on is we got the Max Junbin jerseys. I think that's why teams also kind of like to get rid of the Ramatra. It's just, he can be a nuisance to just about all the dive tanks. He can be really difficult for like just about any of them to play into. Where you get him off the board, it seems like a lot of value.
Great Crazy